anything like that. It's just, this is a timeless piece that might exist anytime in time. and with that, I am here with Mr. Andrew Standiferd of Age of Sigmar fame. We are here for another special episode of Fireheads. I am your host, John Fuhrhelm of In Your Phase Media. And a couple weeks ago, I got together with Mr. Reese Robbins of Frontline Gaming, famous for being the, shall we say, grand poobah of the ITC and everything else. And when Reese finished off his pepper challenge by eating one of the Naga peppers, Andrew here, he popped in, came out of nowhere, didn't even know he was a hot pepper guy. He said, hey guys, I like the hot peppers. I'm not even intimidated by a Naga. I can handle the hot stuff. And in fact, let me prove to you, here's a link to my video for where I did the 1-chip challenge. Now, you did the 1-chip challenge, correct?
Yes, sir.
And how
Absolutely.
hot is...
Myself and my heterosexual life partner, Albert Edge of the Rolling Bad podcast fame, the Barry Manilow of voices for podcasts, apparently. We did it together, and of course my lady recorded, so.
Oh, very nice. Hi there in the background. We, of course, did not get Elric with us. He was planned to join us, and hopefully next time we do something like this next season, we will have him with us. He will be missed. But when you did that 1-chip challenge, that thing was like, what, 2 million, 2.2 million?
2.2, yeah.
2.2 million Scovilles. That's hot. That is really hot. And I watched that video, and you didn't even blink. Like, I would eat a flaming hot Cheetos, and I might be wincing more than what I saw going on between the doors. Now, to be fair, Elric was the one who absolutely had no reaction. But what would you say? Oh, it's a little salty.
Yeah, it was just like it felt like it was just coated in the stuff, and it had no real flavor whatsoever. It's just like, we're gonna pack this chip with this spice and give it nothing else, and then you got to eat it, and it was just like, it did like a little bit of a burning sensation in the throat, but nothing that we couldn't handle. It's just like, okay. And then it had this weird tingly sensation that like gave in the back of our, like, it was in his ears, but it was like behind mine. I was like, that's odd.
Oh wow. That is odd.
Yeah, I watched a bunch of other videos, and people, their reactions were very entertaining.
Nice. Yeah, and of course we've all seen that kind of stuff. And I think one of the things that happens is people have not tried super hot foods before, and they pop something like that in their mouth, and they don't know what they're dealing with. They don't know what to expect. But if anyone who's eaten hot foods before, even if you're climbing up to something extreme, 2 millions, it's not like you haven't been somewhere on that ladder, right? It might be hotter than you've tried before, but you've been up in that super hot range. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was like, if I was allowed to in my household, I would have a ghost pepper salsa in my fridge, but my lady won't let me allow it for it burns her eyes.
I see. Well, so first off, I do want to thank her very much for allowing me to send these hot peppers to your house to bring them in, unless you're about to go outside and you have to like do this in the shed or something. But I do appreciate the small concession to allow you to give this a try. And of course, being as you are a self-famed hot pepper guy, already proven evidence of doing a 2.2 million Scoville hot pepper, or excuse me, hot chip, we didn't decide to start off with any of the sweet peppers. In the past, when we've done Fireheads, we've started off with some perfume peppers. Maybe we've had some mini bell peppers, some delicious stuff like that. And unfortunately, it's kind of a double-sided coin. Is we had all these fires in California, and all that smoke and weeks of not having any light actually kind of shut down my pepper garden. And so a lot of the sweeter peppers, I don't even have any right now. But the hotter peppers that take longer to mature, they were already on the plant. And so they were basically there growing through the smoky season, came out the backside and matured. And so I had a few more peppers to send to people. But like right now, there's almost no peppers growing out in my garden. I have a bunch of flowers because there's a nice week of sunshine or so, and I might get a few more peppers before November. But folks out there, this might be the last Firehead show of the season because those California wildfires shut down growing of the pepper garden, of all things. It's like a nuclear winter. It's like having a volcano.
That's pretty crazy.
And that's about what's going to happen in our mouth too as we try these. So tonight we're going to try the Weirdy, the Snow White, the
All right.
Fatali Eye.
Okay.
Then which one did you decide, Andrew? I sent you a Scotch bonnet and a red Savina. Which one of those do you think you want to give a try to?
I mean, which one are you able to share with? Because I was like, I'd like to try them both, but I mean, that's just because I like to try anything and everything.
Yeah,
so.
you're quite welcome to try them both. Unfortunately, those are the two peppers I don't have with me anymore. Okay. I sent you
Which
the
one would you
last
suggest?
two. I would honestly suggest the Scotch bonnet. I thought it had a lot more complex flavor. The red Savina has a more traditional habanero flavor and is a bit hotter than the Scotch bonnet, but I thought the Scotch bonnet tasted better. So that would be my recommendation. And so I think we will go with that Scotch bonnet as you have voted. And then finally, we're going to come into round 5 with the Naga Scorpion, which I will rejoin you on the challenge for a little Naga Scorpion. Reese and I ate that Naga Scorpion. That was as high as he went in the challenge. That's as high as anybody has went on any of these challenges with me. Okay. And then finally, we'll see if I'm still down for it. Now, I have one left, only one left for the season. And I'm thinking I'll take a slice. I brought a knife with me. I'm going to take a little slice, and we'll see how much you can handle of this. And it's the famed 7-pot brain strain pepper. Now, this pepper itself runs between 1.5 and 2.5 million Scovilles. So it's the only one that should approach the kind of heat that was happening on that one chip challenge. And so we'll see how that goes. And if we get through the end of all 6 peppers and Andrew's saying, that was nothing, that's child's play, we got a little bonus set to the side, but we'll worry about that if we get to it. If we don't get to that point, we won't need to talk about what bonus is going on in the background there. Is that fair enough?
Fair enough.
Okay, sir. Are you ready for this? Because once we start, the fire starts going, the brain starts cooking, and that's it. There's no turning back. Okay.
So the weary?
The weirdy. So go ahead and grab one of these little weirdy peppers. Now, you'll notice that they pop right off the stem. This has been a really nice little pepper for me. You have to unwrap it from the pack there. When I send peppers out to folks, I wrap them up in paper towels and mark on the outside what each one is. Yeah. And then I actually ship them in some green containers. There we go. Okay, the famed weirdy bird pepper. And let's start this challenge off. That's a good pepper, huh?
Yeah. It's got a little bit of a lick kick to it.
Mm-hmm.
Kind of throws you off in the beginning because it's sweet in the beginning. Then it gives you a little kick towards the end.
Yeah, it's nice. That's a nice little spicy pepper for me. Running about 150,000, maybe 100,000 Scovilles, depending on which one you got.
You sent me quite a bit. I'll enjoy those.
Yeah. Because I harvested down that whole plant and sent you about half of the harvest from it. I thought you'd really like those. Real juicy, good in cooking, all that kind of stuff. Now, this pepper, I got a real juicy mouth. Every time I eat one, it makes my mouth drool a bunch. So excuse me while I'm trying to talk while I drool here. Much better. So this is the one that with Seth the other day, Seth Amston of Game Castle, and of course all the running all the art programs at the LVO. This was as high as he went. And when he ate this pepper, I think he had a small out-of-body experience after it. So for most of us, though, this is where
it stays in kind of like the bottom of your mouth a little bit, and kind of just wanders around inside your mouth. Gives it a good little spice to it, and it's got some flavor to it. I like it.
Yeah,
definitely
I like it too.
Pepper.
Yeah, and for me, these ones are the kinds I actually enjoy the most. Are these little tiny super hot peppers, because you eat that heat, get a blast of it, but once it cools down, you can have another one. So like you might find yourself eating 3 or 4 of these across an hour or two. You kind of keep like, oh, that was good. You're like, my mouth was hot, but just one more, and then you pop another one. Unlike almost every other pepper that we're about to try, are not ones that you generally have a second pepper. These are ones that you would use in cooking. You'd use one pepper in cooking, one in some salsa, some stuff like that. And so this year I tried something a little new. a little
Okay.
special. And that's really all the peppers I tried this year were exotics. Like that bird pepper, they're kind of neat. You might actually find those wild on the side of the road where you live in New Mexico. Um,
Mm,
New Mexico, Texas. Basically, they're called a bird pepper because a bird has to eat the pepper, poop the
mm.
pepper seeds out, and wherever they poop the seeds out, that's where those peppers grow.
Oh, did not know
And
that.
you don't generally get them in people's yards unless they happen to pop up from birds eating them there. Like if once they go wild, birds might year after year like replenish them in your yard, but it's pretty rare to actually like go to the nursery and find them. So it's kind of cool. But
Oh, yeah.
another exotic one I got this year was number 2 on our list.
That was the Fatali.
No, it's the old Snow White.
Oh,
The Snow White. Now, the Snow White pepper, I got it. Why? Well, because it was called Snow White pepper. I mean, what the heck, right? It sounded cool.
right.
It looked cool. It has this beautiful
Oh,
white,
yeah.
creamy color to it.
That's a nice big one too.
Yeah, it's a nice looking pepper, right? Now, this is
Yeah.
another one that is been really slow grower all season. So, like,
Okay.
I've gotten maybe 3 harvests off of it. Pretty hot, pretty good flavor. Earlier in the year, one of the first people to do a hot pepper challenge, Mr. Dylan Masalas, Air
Okay.
Force, and his buddy Jorge, they peaked out on the Snow White. That was about as high as they went, and that was like
Okay.
350, 400,000. Andrew Simmons, I know you're out there. I know you tried this Snow White pepper. A lot of people did, and of course,
Yeah.
Andrew, we are. Excuse me. Andrew, let's go ahead and try this Snow White pepper ourselves. Now, myself, I have a little bit of trouble with these on times. This one hits me
Okay.
pretty hard. So I'm a little nervous, but I'm not going to chicken out yet. Here we go.
All right.
Without further ado, a Snow White pepper.
Mm.
That's a lot
Okay.
of flavor in that pepper, huh?
Yeah, it's got a lot of flavor. It's very good.
Yeah,
Enjoyed it.
it's for me, it's not as juicy as the Weary Weary.
No.
So even though it's hotter, it doesn't
Mhm.
hit my mouth quite as hard as that one.
I,
I
I, would,
gotta,
I would actually say the Weary Weary hit me a little harder than that one, to be honest.
yeah, that's what
I
I'm
mean,
saying too. Is that juice in the Weary Weary kind of goes blah,
yeah,
right?
it gives you a little pop.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So how you doing after the Snow White?
Like,
Talk to me about the flavors you tasted there.
so, is there more to it the smaller they are or the bigger they are? Because I know some peppers are like that, where they pack more of a punch than the smaller of the pepper. Because I grabbed the
Right.
larger one, wanting a little bit more, but obviously, like there's like the smaller ones like this. That's maybe like a third of the size of the bigger one that I grabbed.
So
just wondering.
I have found that the small ones are hit and miss. They're rarely going to be hotter than the big one off the same plant. So like a whole plant might be small peppers and be damn hot. But on a given plant, those small ones sometimes are the hottest ones on the entire plant. Like they are crazy hot. Other times they have no heat. So the little ones are super hit and miss, but the big ones are pretty consistent.
Okay. No, it was enjoyable. It had I'm trying to remember the flavor to it. I mean, it was similar to the Weary Weary. Just it was more it's like subtle. It was a lot subtler than the other one. It didn't try and like pop into your mouth. It was more of kind of like it like kind of moves into your mouth with the heat. It doesn't just like overwhelm you immediately. Kind of builds up.
Yeah, that's a good description of it. It builds up kind of slowly in there. Like I said, for me, it really imparts a lot of aroma. When I first bite into it, I don't actually get that heat sense. It's just this aroma that rises into my sinuses. And I found the same thing when I blend that one up into like a salsa. The same thing is you eat that salsa and you'll start getting this aroma up in your sinuses from having those peppers in there. And it's
yeah. The one thing I've always
really
had with spicy, just because it just generally happens, is I get the only thing I get is runny nose.
Oh yeah,
it comes with having a big nose.
I've
been told it has a strong zip code.
Yeah, I get a runny mouth because it comes from having a big mouth.
My lady likes to joke that this thing sank the Titanic.
That's funny. That is too funny. Yeah, so we got to watch out for those ones with a strong aroma there. It
Oh yeah.
might hit you bigger, and the ones that are of course hot, I got a lot more surface area to spread that out. That's my secret to hot peppers is
Ah,
lots of surface area in there. Oh,
definitely. Yeah.
okay.
Like you sent me about like 4 or 5. I know Elric was supposed to be with me with this, but obviously he couldn't make it. But I mean, he still sent me a plentiful that I can enjoy later on after all this. So
I'm hoping that you do have enough. I honestly would have sent you actually a lot more peppers.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, like I said, I'm very low right this time. In fact, the only thing I really
Okay.
didn't send you was I held back a few peppers just so that I would be able to chase them along with you. Um,
No.
and it is unfortunate. And again, what are we gonna do about weather? And it's one of those kind of like weird little things, you always hear about in history, like a volcano erupts and then, the crops failed in Europe, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, oh my gosh, we have all these wildfires. And sure enough, weeks later, my crops are failing, as it
Yeah,
were.
it
So
sucks
it's
that it
it's
really
kind of
affects it
funny.
that way.
Yeah. So we definitely
Oh, yeah.
don't want that. I tell you what, there's one reason not to have a bunch of pollution in the air for that, just to make sure we have plenty of hot peppers still, right?
True
So
enough.
I think we're gonna move
Okay.
on to number 3 here.
Okay. And that
And
was.
like I said, I like to push pretty hard because I myself, if I stop and sit back, I will stop. But as long as I keep pushing, then I'm ready. When my mouth is burning a little bit from the last pepper, I don't wait for the heat to go away. I wait till I'm just like at a tolerable
uh,
level. Time to punish that mouth a little bit more. And
Sounds good.
next is one of the peppers that I was actually really looking forward to having this year. And now this is the Fatalii pepper.
Yes.
Fatali. And so these ones, as I read about them, are a South African pepper. They're also found in the Congo and Central Africa. And
Okay.
interestingly enough, as you see, they have a little bit of a kind of almost a spikiness to the pepper themselves. Like if you run your finger along the pepper, you'll feel
Okay. It's
there's like
rough.
some little like thorns almost and little spiky bits on them. I don't
Okay.
know. So, anyways, I thought that was
It's a
kind of an
little rough.
interest. Yeah, a little
It's
rough,
unlike the
right?
others that are normally very smooth. This one's got a like kind of like a rigid to it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and not like thorns like are gonna get
No.
spines in your mouth, but just kind of like a roughness or a texture that I thought was really interesting. This is
Yeah.
supposed to be very sweet. It
Okay.
has a very interesting texture, a lot of citrus overtones. So I want you to look for those citrus overtones when you bite into it, and
Okay.
make sure you leave a little bit of the top because the seeds and the inside of this pepper also look a little bit different than the average pepper, and I think it's kind of neat. So, without further ado, we'll try one of these Fatalii peppers. Might be one of the only times you ever get to try one of these, but an exotic pepper from Africa.
Ooh.
Mm.
Mm. It's very similar to kind of like in the beginning a habanero.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah. It's got that sweet, like you said, citrusy flavor to it. I was just wanting to open it up, because like you said, just trying to see the inside
Yeah, you see the
with the
meat
seeds
and
and
everything
everything.
in there. It's got a little bit of color to it. The seeds.
Oh
Does
yeah,
yours have those little dark seeds in it?
yeah,
So
definitely.
something a little different. Um,
Yeah, it's like uh, I mean, it's not overwhelming. It's very juicy, like you said, and very sweet, kind of spicy. The one of the best kinds of spicy.
yeah,
Something I'd
right.
actually like to put in my kind of like I make just like the Subway sandwiches.
Oh, right.
I make my own of those, and I put a lot of like hot peppers that have that sweet citrusy flavor to them. So that's
Hmm.
something I definitely put if I had them to put in my sandwiches.
Oh, that would be good on a sandwich. Yeah, I could see
Oh
that
yeah.
sliced open, kind of flayed open to kind of spread it out a bit. Two or three of
Mm-hmm.
those spread across the sandwich, and then every time you bite, get that nice citrusy flavor in there. Maybe some kind of a almost like an Italian dressing in there to cut that a little bit. Oh, that might be really
Mm-hmm.
tasty. Hmm, very good.
Absolutely.
Again, this has proven to be one of my favorite hot peppers this year. Again, just something a little
Okay.
bit different. Oh, oh, I got a big burp. I feel it right there, though. Oh,
It
when
still
that
is
comes
way
out, I'll
up.
be much better. Yeah. So how you doing on the heat wise? Are we taking you down yet? You still going strong? Not even
Oh.
challenged, huh?
It's like kind of like my day-to-day intake for like any kind of spicy foods.
Nice.
Like my go-to for like say Buffalo Wild Wings is like mango habanero and the Caribbean
Oh yeah.
jerk, or I mean, I've done the challenge endless times. I mean, it's fun, and especially when people that have never done the challenge and talk big,
right?
And then they do it and they get like into the first one. Maybe they'll do 1.5, and I'm over here finishing my plate. It's
Nice.
it's just funny to watch other people as well as myself, just to see how well I can take it in, especially as I get older, because I'm up there in my 30s, and when I was young, I was able to. Well, no, I mean, when I was younger, I could take it a lot better. But
really? Okay.
Yeah, I guess it's more refined now. Instead of just like gobbling up all the spice.
Oh, I hear you. Well, I mean, I myself, I'm pushing my early 50s already, so so I can tell you that I'm still going strong on the spicy foods. I've enjoyed them my whole life. Though I have found I can upset my stomach if I don't watch it, and it's more that like even today before we recorded, I made sure I had a nice made a nice sandwich, a nice lunch in there, so I have a nice base in there. You know, if I try to eat all these hot peppers on like an empty stomach or something, I probably in bad shape, you know, afterwards.
Gotcha.
And you see that I'm not sipping any milk or anything like that. If my mouth gets a little too hot, I'll probably have a little bit of the Suntory whiskey over here to cut the heat out. But that's about it. And so I just found as long as I kind of watch these few things, I'm going to be good, you know. And like I said, when we get some of these later peppers, we'll see. When I put that 7-pot in my mouth, I might spit it in the trash. I know what I can swallow and what I can't. So we'll see how it goes. But I think I'm with you on this one. Is a lot of people they go to me, John, you're crazy. How do you eat all these hot peppers? Blah blah blah. And I go, well,
good.
They're good. They're tasty, but it's also a thing you get there, right? You don't just eat a pepper this hot out of the gate and then you're like, oh yeah, no big deal. You have to build up to it. You have to eat these kinds of things regularly, and over time, you don't burn out your taste buds. Okay. I feel just as much heat as everybody else does. You feel just as much heat as everybody else does. But what you do is you gain a psychological mastery of the heat. You fundamentally understand that these very high heat peppers are not going to hurt you. They're not going to harm you. And that all it is this flavor and sort of, experience that you're going to have doing it. And that knowledge of having ridden that ride so many times is what keeps you from panicking and overreacting. And we see this time and time again. People in these hot pepper videos, they pop a big old, well, like what we're about to try next, you know, one of these Scotch bonnets or something, and they don't know what to expect. And all of a sudden they're like crying and dying and I don't know what I've done. And it's like, no, okay. You need to work up to that, homeboy.
One of the things I liked about the challenge is not drinking anything, like trying to, like, how long can you not drink anything? And myself and Elric, we were like just looking at each other. I was like, you really need to drink anything? Nah. I was like, it was like we didn't pour any milk or anything. I had already had like a Monster earlier that I had like half open, and I was like, if anything, like all I want to do is like get it down, is to drink it just to get that like I think it was just more of the spice and like dryness down my throat. So it wasn't because it was hot. It was just because it coated my throat.
Oh yeah, sometimes you got to rinse out. Like I said, that's why I usually will just drink a little whiskey, is it actually clears out the palate a little bit. You know, definitely what I found is you want to avoid is anything cold. Like if you start drinking cold stuff when you're eating hot stuff, it starts this bounce of cold hot inside your mouth. And I liken it to punching someone.
But
you know,
it's a roller coaster.
That's what it is. I mean, it's
like, roller coaster.
If you just push on something, it's not going to hurt it. But if you do this, eventually things start getting tender. And that's what it does. You tenderize your mouth when you do that. So without further ado, I am not going to join you on this next one. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and have that thing of Suntory whiskey that I keep talking about. But for you, are you going to dive into that Scotch bonnet?
Scotch bonnet.
Okay.
So like I have to like kind of like pinch the end of it
I would cut that one. It looks like it's
pinch it.
Well, that end is it's looking a little worse for wear too. How's that red Savina? Is it in better shape?
It looks.
Why don't you take a look at that red Savina? I don't know if I'd eat that one. It's looking a little rough. You make your own call. But like I said, I was a little worried. It was kind of at its end of its days. You might cut the black parts off, but otherwise, let's take a look at that red Savina.
You only live once, right?
Okay. Whoa. That is double bold. Double bold.
Okay.
So what do you think? That to me was one of the tastier peppers were those Scotch bonnets. And they're one of the ones that are kind of famous. People talk about Scotch bonnets a lot. A lot of people show some
Mhm.
interest in those. I think they were
Mhm.
popular a couple years ago for some reason. So have you tried a Scotch bonnet before?
No, I haven't. That's actually really flavorful. I mean, it's got a good like a subtle kick to it that makes you kind of feel it as it goes down your throat, but it kind of swirls around in the bottom of like underneath your tongue.
Yeah, I know what
It's
you're
really
talking
good.
about. Yeah,
I
for
really
me,
like it.
those
That
had
one's really
a
good.
lot of sweetness to them. Again, that heavy smoky flavor we get out of the habanero family of peppers, and it is definitely
Hmm.
a habanero type pepper,
Oh
and
yeah.
uh, and a nice heat. I think I would say that one's probably equivalent to the Weary Weary, a little bit more
Okay.
mass, but so
Yeah.
and not as sharp. I felt that the Scotch bonnet was one that the heat built up a little bit slowly. How about you? Was it right on you immediately, or is it
No,
building up a little
I'd,
bit? Or
I'd still say the Weary Weary was the one that like kind of like it had like an explosion in my mouth right off the bat. That one's just more of a kind of like I said, it just kind of stays in your mouth a little bit, kind of
hmm
gives you that taste in your mouth. Like I can taste a little bit on my lips.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's the only one where I can actually taste it on my lips,
nice.
opposed to the other ones. But no, that one was really good.
Yeah, I've
Very
been
sweet.
enjoying those. I think about most of the other Scotch bonnets I harvested this year, I actually used in eggs and
Okay.
salsa. So those were the two big uses I had. But chopped up in some eggs, they were really good. In fact, my dog, I made Scotch bonnet eggs one morning, and the dog loved them because I always make extra eggs for the dog. I'm like, okay, dog, he's gonna be hot, and he's like, I gave him one bite, and he has that, and then he's back for more. I'm like, okay, I slid a little in his bowl, and he went for it, man. He was happy. He was happy as a clam, as it were, as was I. So good.
Yeah,
I'm glad you
very
like those
good.
ones. I think the
Oh yeah, that
Scotch
was very tasty.
bonnets are one I'm going to do again next year. I was real
Mhm.
happy with those, and I saw that there's quite a variety. Like those were the yellow Scotch bonnets. There's red, there's orange, and all of those kinds of things. I'm not a big green pepper guy.
Uh-huh.
I like peppers
Oh,
with
green
some
peppers
color
are
to
so
them.
sweet. I love them.
What's that?
I love a good green pepper because they're very sweet and they're kind of your standard for any kind of sandwich. I mean,
Oh
they're
yeah,
not hot peppers at all. People that like I think it's funny when people say like a green pepper is hot. I'm just like, it's entirely sweet. I don't know what you're talking about. I think you're expecting it because it's called a pepper. It's not hot
no,
at all.
there's no heat there.
It's meant to add some sweetness to anything that you add it to.
Absolutely. Yeah, and it's funny. Well, the reason that I'm not a fan of the green peppers, and this is kind of a funny thing, is it's hard for me to tell when they are mature and ready. Whereas
Ah,
ones that have colors, it's like, okay, it is now ready, and that's the only thing I have against the green peppers.
gotcha.
Yeah, but I'm with you. The other thing I found, unfortunately, is while peppers do grow really good at my house, only
That's
a
good.
certain like size of pepper. Like when I try to grow a big bell pepper, I can get
Uh-huh.
like two bell peppers off of a plant. Like the
Oh,
whole
okay.
year, that's all I get off that plant is like two bell peppers. And it's like, if I'm gonna get two bell peppers, I might as well go to the store and just buy two bell peppers.
Right? Because you can get it for like 60 cents for a single bell pepper. So,
Exactly. So why
but I
even
don't know. You get
bother?
that satisfaction from growing your own, like from your own garden, and just like building up your own little sandwich or salad or whatever, what have you.
Yeah, yeah. There is that. For me, a lot of times it's making pasta when I go to cook the sauce, is going out in my
Mhm.
garden and I have like oregano and basil, thyme, tomatoes, peppers, and I just hack that eggplant. I grew eggplants this year. And I chop all that stuff up and just throw it into like some basic ragu and let that
Uh-huh.
simmer for an hour or two till it like everything just cooks down into the sauce. Oh, that's the best spaghetti sauce. That
Yeah,
is the
I'm one of
best.
those weird people that I'd rather eat like the hottest pepper than ever put a tomato in my mouth.
Oh, really?
Tomatoes and mushrooms, man, I can't eat them for anything. Why? Because it's purely a texture thing. I don't know what it is. Like it's like a joke thing. Me and my lady went out to eat one time, and
Uh-huh.
they gave us this bowl with tomato grapes, and I can't stand tomato grapes. And I was like, okay, if I'm gonna put this in my mouth, you're gonna record it, and we're gonna watch how bad it is to watch me eat a bell pepper, like just a little tomato grape. Like how people react to like hot peppers is how I react to a tomato grape because it's just I don't know that pop in my mouth is just so repulsive for my mouth. It's just like
Oh yeah,
no,
and
get it
the
out. I
slimy
just want
little
to spit it out.
seeds in there. You got these slimy little seeds shooting around your mouth. Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And then like I don't know what it's purely a texture thing because I love tomato soup and all that stuff. I love cream of mushroom soup, cream of mushroom, but it's just
Yeah.
purely a texture thing. I can't eat them for anything. I can eat anything
No.
else.
It's funny that you say that. That is the only thing that kills me on certain foods as well. Like all the foods that I would list that I say these are things I just absolutely cannot eat. It's basically texture is 9 out of 10. That's why I'm not into something. It's rarely flavors. Like flavors I can adapt, and I just have kind of this weird wide palate that likes to try a lot of different things. But yeah, if something is just for me, and actually if I'm gonna really get into it, I don't like anything I have to chew too long. Like whatever it is, I don't want it in my mouth for very long. Like that's the main thing. So like there's some things where they're a little more exotic, and you get them in there. It's like, okay, I can deal with this flavor, and then you're crunching, then you're crunching, then you're crunching.
Like I want to swallow it already. Just go down.
Yeah, just call it a day. Okay, so talking about swallowing. So you survived the old Scotch bonnet. Now we're up to level 4 here. Moving on to number 5. Much like moving on to round 5 at the LVO, right? It's one of those things. That's where you're through all the easy stuff, and now you know that you're in for the home stretch. You're in for the tough stuff. So here we are. We are looking at the old Naga Viper. Let me get myself a Naga out here. Now this is as high. Oh yeah, this is as high as we went with Reese the other day. This is the one that prompted you to say, Reese, I got you covered, and we're gonna outdo you. And I've been calling this the Naga Viper. This is actually the Naga Morichi, which, as near as I can tell, just means like cobra snake in India, anyways, or cobra viper or something like that. Anyways, I remember exactly. I actually gave some of these to an Indian coworker. Well, he's actually a client, but I gave some to a client, and he's like, "Oh yeah, that just means this in this one part of India, and this other part means this other part in India." And he goes, "Oh, but I eat that stuff all the time," and blah blah blah. But I talked to him a week later, and he goes, "I gave those to my friends, and they actually didn't appreciate how hot those were. Those were a lot hotter." I go, "Okay, talk big, and get bit." So without further ado, we've talked big. You guys have seen me eat one of these before. I'm going to eat another one right now. Andrew, you're diving right into this bad boy. Nothing to do but to do it, man. I'm eating half. A little more than half. This is normally about the limit that I can enjoy. It takes me a little bit to get control of myself after eating that.
Don't make me laugh. One key thing you can't ever do is you can't laugh. I know when I did the chip challenge with Elric, I got the hiccups. And it made everything go. I was like, oh my gosh, this is the worst time to get the hiccups. And I was like, control, must learn control. And I got it. But no, that's it's got like an instant kick to it. Yes. And then it kind of dwells around in the back of the throat. That one doesn't go to the bottom. It goes right to the back of the throat. It's very good.
Yeah, that is a tasty pepper. I think you said it right there, though. I like that they call it the Viper or the Cobra, the whatever, the Naga. Because it's like, to me, it's like a snake just bit me right on the tongue. And it's right there, instant.
Right.
And then, as you said, hanging out in the back of my throat. This is the one that reminds me that I have a uvula. I can feel my uvula. It is distinctly sitting in the back of my mouth doing a thing. What about the flavors there? What beyond hot? What would you taste in that one?
It doesn't have too much. I mean, like flavor wise, it's more of just like a juicy kick to the mouth with that spice in it.
Mm-hmm. Now I can see you're feeling this one. You are feeling this one. How would you compare this one?
Like right here.
Yeah.
It's just dwelling right there in my throat.
Yeah, I'm gonna go for a tomato myself. Warm tomato out of my garden. A little bit of salt on it.
Okay. I'll need to take a drink after that one. Oh, that was good.
That's a good pepper, but hot. Well, how do you compare that to the chip challenge?
It's better than the chip challenge. I'd say the chip was hotter.
Yeah.
But That one kind of swirls in the mouth a lot more. And kind of like the juice kind of soaks into your throat.
Yeah, it sits there. My as I described it, and it was I say the same thing now as I said when I ate this with Reese. The actual opening to my throat is like a ring of fire. Like yeah, my mouth is burning
No,
some.
no, fine. It's just like right here.
Yeah, like but it's, for me, it's the throat. I can just feel this like circle of fire, like here. Yeah, my uvula.
That one definitely kicks you in the mouth.
Okay. I see you driving on. He is cracking open the 7-pot brain strain.
I will need to grab something real quick so I can actually blow my nose. Otherwise, I'm just going to sniff. Be right back.
No problem. No problem. Well, I hope you guys are enjoying this so far with Andrew Standiferd of Age of Sigmar LVO Championship fame. He is off getting himself a little something to wipe his nose. We have climbed through 5 of the 6 of the hottest peppers I've grown this year. We have so far tried the Weary Weary, the Snow White, the Fatalii. Andrew had himself a Scotch bonnet, and I'll give him extra sort of macho man points because not only did he down that Scotch bonnet, that one was looking a little scary. I would have questioned whether I could have taken a bite of that one myself. But after that Scotch bonnet didn't even faze him, we moved on to the Naga Viper, the Naga Morichi, which is a serious pepper, typically about as hot of a pepper as I ever want to put in my mouth. Now, I have eaten hotter peppers. Last year, you guys remember we did the 3 pepper challenge with the Carolina Reaper, the Trinidad Scorpion, and the Chocolate Bootla. Now, this here is probably about the same heat as the Chocolate Bootla. Pretty damn hot. Now, not as hot as the Trinidad Scorpion. And the problem with the Trinidad Scorpion wasn't just so much how hot it was an absolutely unpleasant pepper. And because what I found is that when you eat these peppers, there's a lot more going on than just capsaicin. There's a lot of other terpenes and secondary chemicals. There's what people call the pepper flavor going on. But there's actual chemicals that affect how fast that pepper is going to hit you, how strong it's going to hit you, how long the pepper is actually going to stick in your mouth, the oils and other things. There's a physicality to the pepper. Some are thin wall, some are thick wall. Some have more fiber to them. You have to chew them more. And all these different characteristics affect how that hot pepper is delivered to your mouth and your tongue and everything else, right? Like the Weary Weary, one of the ones we started with. You take a bite of that and it's juicy, and that juice sprays all over your tongue and hits your tongue instantly. Whereas some of these other peppers, you chew them up and you're not getting a lot on your tongue, but as you swallow it, that oil is finally released and we're getting that burn down here. And that's definitely how I would describe that Naga. Now,
that one, you like chew it a lot around your mouth. It takes quite a bit to chew it, but once you, because it doesn't like it does like an initial kick, but then it's subtle, and then waits till you actually like you said, like the oils, it really settled in my throat, and I was just like, that was pleasant pepper. I liked it.
Nice. That was enough. That one was worthy. Right now we're getting into the heat range to where anybody who tells me they eat a pepper like that and it's no big deal, I don't believe you. You swap peppers if you ate that and you didn't have some kind of reaction, right? I'm not saying that you're going to be drying on the ground. Like, this is a pepper where we've seen the videos where the guy's like 20 minutes later, oh, what have I done?
Regret my decisions in life.
Yeah, that's going to have that effect on some people. But, anybody who eats a pepper like this is going to have some kind of reaction. Now, I've climbed up this far so far, but there's one pepper that all season I have been afraid to try.
That's the 7-pot?
That's the 7-pot. And I have one left, and it is also looking a little worse for wear. I kind of stretched out its shelf life a little bit. Starting to get a few dark spots. Now, what do the dark spots mean? Well, they're basically like bruises on an apple or bruises on a banana. They don't mean anything. Peppers and capsaicin actually have a natural antifungal, antibacterial property. So it takes actually a long time for anything really nasty to happen. And when it does, it's actually going to be a blue fungus like you get on citrus. And so you get your penicillin out of that. So it's like, you know, you're good on a pepper up until the moment you know you're not good on a pepper. Now, I myself absolutely know that I cannot handle this entire 7-pot. So I am just going to take a little slice of this thing right off the end there. Ooh, I can smell that, man. Okay, Andrew, you're a brave man. I don't even think I can handle this little slice of it, but I'm going to go for it. One of the hottest peppers I've certainly ever eaten. 7-pot brain strain. What's that?
How high is this one?
It's going to be somewhere between 1.5 and 2.5 million. So we might get away with something that was the same heat as the Naga we just had, or we might get away with something that was quite a bit hotter. I honestly don't know, and I haven't tried it before, so you're into this with me, my friend. Let's see what we got. That is really sweet. That is way sweeter than I expected.
Yeah.
Very crispy. Like a nice crunchiness to it too. Fuck me. The heat is delayed. It's deep in my throat. The heat is down here for me. Wow. That is a deep.
I think it went down really well for me.
Yeah.
Because I think the other one is, unfortunately, you made me laugh during the Naga one, which made me kind of react a little differently. And I think that's why it might have caught up in my throat. But that one was it was very tasty.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna have another little slice of that. I think I can handle a little more. That was pretty good.
Like, yeah, popping the whole thing in my mouth. I was expecting it to be hotter than Naga.
Yeah.
Honestly, that one, like the Naga, I think because of how it dwelled in my throat, because of how I laughed. Because believe it or not, that does actually have an effect on like the hot, like the heat that dwells in your mouth.
Yeah.
Because you don't ever want to breathe in deeply. Nope. You don't ever want to laugh.
Right? I have to agree with you. That was not as hot as the Naga Viper. No. In fact, I wouldn't say I would say it's in the range. But that I can handle that. That actually was not nearly as hot as I expected. That is a very sweet pepper. And when I had the second slice there, the same thing. Very, very crunchy. Very firm.
Yeah, it was definitely crunchy.
Now, I do get hints of what was my big problem with the Trinidad Scorpion, is this is one that you got to watch your breathing on. Because I can feel, like, as I'm breathing past eating this pepper, my lungs are not happy to breathe this in. So I'm feeling a little bit of tightness in the chest from this one. But it's mostly, like, really deeper in my throat than any pepper so far. Like, the burn for it is way back here. And each time I breathe in and out, I'm getting this really strong, kind of smoky, peppery flavor that's rising up through my sinuses.
Oh yeah.
Down. That is a way nicer pepper than I thought it was going to be. Man, that was really tasty. I'm impressed. I'm actually disappointed that I feared those so much. I should have kept some more and done something with them. Well, there it is. The famed, the infamous, the deadly, the 7-pot brain strain pepper, for many years famed as one of the nastiest peppers you could possibly eat. However, honestly, I would say that the Naga Marichi and the old Weary Weary both give it a run for its money. Like, that Weary Weary is a small pepper, but maybe taking 10 of those in your mouth so it's the same size as a Naga. Oh. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Right. That would have been a whole other thing.
Yeah, that'll blow your mind, definitely, if you try throwing like 4 or 5 of those at a time. Woo!
Yeah, a little too much. A little too much. Well, Andrew, thank you. You climbed the 6 pepper challenge. all the way up the ladder. That was not even a problem for you. You said that it was not going to be a problem. You said this, and I knew it wasn't. I watched you do that hot chip challenge, and though I have not done the one chip challenge, I've actually tried a little bit off of it. My friend gave me one of the chips, and I'm not a big salsa fan. I'm definitely not a big chemical spice type of guy, but I did have to see what it was about. So yeah, that is hot. I knew you could hang. I knew you could hang with all these hot peppers that we tried today. Now, there is a little bonus that's out there. Are you up for that bonus, or are we going to call it right here? Oh, we got a little bit of a freeze up on his thing. Oh, there you are.
Okay. It was like, yeah, you were breaking up and out of there for a minute.
Yeah, same. But you're clear now. So where are you sitting at? Are you ready for the I said where? So where were you sitting on the survival ladder there? Are you down for the bonus round with the final one chip challenge? Or are we gonna leave you as the
one more time
king and champion of the Fireheads ladder right now is Andrew Standiferd. Not only has he climbed as hot as anybody on this ladder has possibly done, he has had more of the hottest peppers. In fact, we started, and each one of the peppers we had today was somebody else this season's hottest pepper, finishing with what should have been and could have been the hottest pepper ever. And who knows? We've eaten so many hot peppers, it might have been the hottest pepper ever, but we just don't even know it because we have so much hot pepper going in on our mouth at this point. So with that,
right?
With that, I put together a little hot chili oil, a little hot chili paste that basically I took last year all the hot peppers that I had at the end of the year, and I put them in my food dehydrator and dehydrated those down. I also took each of the hottest peppers from this year, blended it into a puree, simmered that down into a sauce with some peanut oil and some peanuts, and I made my own super hot chili oil just for Andrew to enjoy. I figured even if he didn't do it as part of the challenge, he'd use it for some cooking and stuff. But he's going to give that a try. Let's see what you got. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties. Hopefully we don't lose you. Did you pop that chip? If you did, we missed it.
Right. Not yet. So
okay, cool.
The signal solidified.
The power of the internet.
You there?
I'm here. I am still here.
You there?
I still hear you. I still see you. You're still moving.
Okay.
You're in full 3D.
Okay. All right.
Okay, here we go.
So
the hot chili challenge. Now, depending on whether he says this tastes really good and whether the heat is appropriate, we may have a new product, which is Firehead hot chili paste. If it tastes terrible, then I'm going to stick with